I said, whoever gets in first, pull the rest of the brothers in. So Bobby got in first, and then life happened, whatever, what have you. And here we are today. And then I got presented with an opportunity. First thing I did was call Bobby because that's just been on my heart, you know. And there's others too. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of others. There are DJs in Minneapolis are just super tight. I love them to death. I can't wait to, they put me on. They gave
Mhm.
me an opportunity. I want to give opportunity back. I want the opportunity to be able to give back to those who looked out for me too as well. And not to even mention my comrades and my brothers back in Chicago
Mhm.
that would just tear the place down right along with me. I come from a crew. I come from this era that we are second generation house music disco people. I witnessed the birth of house, but I was too young to participate. So that's what makes me second generation. First generation would be the Frankie Knuckles, your Ron Hardys, your Steve Hurleys, you know, uh, your Nicky Cianos, and all, Larry Levan, you know, uh, all those guys, New York guys, the Chicago guys, the Detroit. Derek Mayday is one of my favorite. Ron Atkins, Kevin Sanderson. I mean, the names and the list goes on. All these guys were before me. And I looked up to these guys, and there's plenty more.
Mhm.
But then in the second generation, the guys that I was coming up with was your DJ Rush, was your Ron Trent, was your Glenn Underground, your Boo Williams, your Terry Hunters, you know, and that's the stock that I come from. That was my generation or close to it. Some of those cats may be older than me. Well, Ron Trent's actually younger than me. But we were that torch carriers for that particular time to continue on where the first generation left off.
Mhm.
And it was an amazing journey. And I mean, there's so many inner workings and inner stories that I can tell that would take way too much time.
Yeah, well, we have the future. Hopefully, there'll be other big loves, and hopefully, you'll have an
Oh yeah.
opportunity to
Oh yeah.
bring some of your
I'll give
Chicago
it to you. I'll
comrades.
give it to you in segments.
Yeah, but in the meantime, of course, the third DJ, there are three DJs on the bill for the first Big Love, and
Yes.
E-Tones, Tony Larson is the DJ who isn't present with us at the moment, but that provides us
Yeah.
with a wonderful opportunity for the two of
Yes.
you to both expand on the significance of Tony of E-Tones being the other DJ on this bill, of the connection that the two of you have with him. And Bobby, you shared a little bit in your post, which anyone watching this can read the full post. It's on the event page about your first encounter with Tony in a record store, and it was wild for you to be for Tony to be like in that first encounter to be like speaking with you, and could you each expand a little bit on what it means for you, for Tony Larson, for E-Tones to be the other DJ on this first Big Love bill?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Tony, I had to actually, he had to remind me of some of this stuff because yeah, I feel like he has a better memory of it than I do. Like I had to go back to him and find out some dates and things like that. But essentially, I met Tony looking for records at Let It Be in Minneapolis. I lived in Eau Claire at the time, so ordered most of my records. I ordered from places like dancerecords.com, HTFR, and then other labels that I was really into. I found ways to just order direct if I could. But when I could, I would make a trip to Minneapolis to go record shopping, to go to Let It Be Records. So I would come there into the basement. Also, too, there were different events that they would hold, like DJ competitions or just open decks where you could go to the record store and play your records. So that's really where I know Tony from, is just being in the basement playing music, and I knew who he was and his history, obviously. I remember when he just started talking to me, I was the most surreal thing. I'm like, oh my God, like here's this amazing DJ who I looked up to, and he's talking to me about music and to me about the records that, he looked at what I had and he's like, well, if you like this, showing me stuff. And I just thought that was
Hmm.
the coolest thing. Um,
There's big
and
love in
then,
that too, isn't there?
oh yes, absolutely.
Seeing you and seeing your relationship with that music and the loving invitation to expand.
Yes, absolutely. It was like a big brother to me in a lot of ways. One of the things he remembers too, he says that he liked seeing my name on the special order card. Sometimes I would have to special order records or whatever, so they had my information on file, and he remembers, seeing that on there and having that information. So, and then I think he eventually went on to work at Vital too, which is the neighborhood that he lives in now. Um, so after Let It Be closed and Vital moved, I think, to Uptown, and he wasn't working at the store anymore. So we lost touch. But having a presence on social media, when by the time Facebook came around, we were friends on Facebook. So and we knew who each other was, obviously. And then I think he said in like 2019, I want to say, um, I approached him after a set at Communion,
Mm.
and just reminded him of how much I appreciated the way that he treated me at the record store. And then we remained friends on Facebook. And then just this last summer, I know that he had gone through some things too, and myself prior to that. Like I was just coming out of some really difficult times in my life, and we crossed paths at Communion again, and we just started hanging out. And I remember, I messaged him. And I was like, dude, we should hang out and play music sometime. So that's what happened. And I would just go to his house because I don't have any gear right now. I lost everything. I lost over 3,000 records. I lost, everything, and it is what it is. But so right now I still don't have gear. So I would go over there to practice, and I was looking to get gigs, and so I needed to put together some newer stuff. I lost all my digital music, so I didn't have any promos. I had some older stuff that was just techno, but I had kind of come full circle back to house music. And so I had all this house music, but I didn't have any promos to send anybody. So he helped me to start putting together, some promos. So I would go there, and my relationship with Tony became very much like my relationship with Polly and Loring, in that it was just this relentless pursuit of music and finding new stuff. And I would go over there. I wouldn't just DJ the music over there. I would go over there and we would just sit there and I'd play tracks, just snippets of tracks, like check this one out, listen to this one, I like the way that this sounds, or come check out this label. And that's really all we did, that too. And another cool thing is, like, with the vinyl, there was always the artwork too. You could look through your records and hold them and feel them and touch them, and that was a big part of it too. So, and then it still is, like, I have a deep appreciation for the artwork. So, and that's all stuff that we talk about. I'll be like, check this label out, dude. These are all cool. Like, I like the way that they do this, or I like the way that they do that. So, and really, that's what has really helped me to progress, because like I have all this experience, right, DJing, but there's always room for improvement. So, and that's exactly what happened. I had the opportunity to approach things from a sober perspective, where I hadn't always. But coming back to house music, I feel like I didn't, because I collected house music early on, and that was my first love. But after that, it was techno, and I never didn't like house music, but I just had played so many other styles. So coming back to house, there was, I feel like, a learning curve.
Hmm.
And because I knew, I shot by label. I knew the labels that I loved, and I still buy from those labels. But there's obviously so much more newer stuff. So I just spent a lot of time just going through tracks and buying tracks, and right now it's just kind of a renaissance in that um, I'm just that's it's literally like a second job.
Hmm.
Finding music is it's its own job, and it's not always fun. But when you find those labels, like I really enjoy it when they're putting out a lot of the same similar sound that if it's something I really dig, and then I hit up labels like that. I just buy as much stuff as I can, and I move on, and then I keep, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but that's really driving, where I'm at and what you'll get to see at Big Love
Hmm.
is the product of that relationship that I have with Tony and pushing each other creatively and technically. Just different mixing techniques. And the craziest thing to me is that Tony will tell me that he's got my voice in his head when he's mixing and like listening because I talk to him about how I whatever and he watches me and sometimes I'm like, Tony, what are you talking about, dude? Like you have it backwards. Like why are you listening to what I have to say, like but and so I think that's something that's really cool because I go to as many of his shows as I can, and he comes to mine. So, and then afterward, I can look at him or he can look at me, and he can ask me literally, and I'll be like, yeah, and I'll be able to give him like not a critique, but like, I heard this, I heard you do that, and or this and that, and I noticed you did this or that, and that just with the sheer number of events that I go to is really driving uh my I don't even know the right word for it. It's driving my evolution or
Hmm.
it's driving what I'm doing. It's constantly being exposed to music, and then being able to talk about it with someone that's also a DJ and so we experience a lot together and we learn a lot from each other.
Yeah, all of these labels that you're saying you're encountering and discovering all these labels. Many of my new favorite house music labels are the ones that I've discovered through you, in turn. Like Get Physical and Jackie's Music are a couple of labels that you have in turn introduced me to. So
Yeah,
thank you.
Get Physical, I want to say is there's not really traditional house in the sense. It's more, I mean, it's house music. It's a German label. I've always been obsessed with German labels, especially collecting vinyl. It was always mostly techno, obviously, but there's just something about the music that Germans put out, dude. It's always really good. And Get Physical is one of those labels it's run by DJT, and it's just high quality. You can always expect that they're gonna put out some quality stuff. So I had very, very many Get Physical records, and also too, I love the artwork and everything. So it's definitely a label that I highly recommend.
Jocko, do you have anything to share about E-Tones and the significance of Tony being on the bill?
Yes. Well, first I want to say, Tony, it made me feel like he brought it all together. The vision. When I first met Tony, Bobby introduced me to Tony at Dayfunk.
Mm,
And I got a nice vibe from him. Hadn't heard him play not one tune, but his vibe was so right to me. And of course, Bobby, I don't have to second guess. If Bobby say he's good, Bobby says he's valid because Bobby knows my ear.
hmm
You know, from the years of us working and playing together and interacting, not just as DJs, but as brothers, as we hung out. Wasn't always music. We barbecued, like you said, we'd be out on the lake, all kinds of stuff. So he knows my character and E-Tones. It was the vibe he gave off. And then, hearing about him, I just thought that he would bring the full thing to full circle for me in my mind and how I was thinking of things when I got presented with this opportunity. I thought he would be perfect to bring it all together.
hmm
I wasn't sure if I could get him, if he would be booked, if he would be busy. Is always that, in the back of your mind, do this guy even want to play with me or, anything like that? But I had to take the doubts out of my mind and just be confident and knowing that. And then by him and Bobby being great friends, I said, yeah, this is a no-brainer. This is going to be a special thing. It's really going to be a special night. And I'm looking forward to it. And then I got the opportunity to be on the same bill with him at the last
the
week of the
7th
week.
anniversary. Yeah, the 7th anniversary, no less. Yeah.
He played after me and he blew my mind. He absolutely blew my mind. So, like I said, full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Full circle.